Overflow with yours truly, Kimberly Snider. I'm so happy you're here. It is summer where I am. It is warm and sunny, blue skies. It seems like everyone really has a pep in the step. Um, and I wanted to pop on and do a solo episode. We are recording with some very interesting guests who are challenging us to think differently as leaders. And we are also launching some of our previously recorded episodes onto YouTube. So you'll see all that coming at you. But today I wanted to do a solo episode and I wanted to challenge you to be full of yourself. Be full of yourself. And I don't want that to sound arrogant. I don't want it to sound like you are being, better than everyone else. I mean, truly being filled up, being full of yourself, knowing your strengths, your talent, your uniqueness, and really honoring, I would say, you and how you approach and have experienced the world. And I think we need to stop apologizing and be a little bit more full of ourselves. Are you ready for this? I think we can't live in our overflow if we are drained, depleted, or overwhelmed and burnt out. And so being full of yourself is, I think, honoring your strengths and your unique talents. And it also means giving yourself permission, time to refuel. When we take time to pause, when we take time to think strategically, we start to notice what it is that's filling us up, what's on our mind, what's causing us a burden or a weight on our mind or on our heart. And it just gives us pause to rethink or maybe to have the courage to have a conversation, to say the thing, to set a boundary. And so that's why I'm here on Overflow today. I thought, you know what? I want to come on and shift the perspective, maybe change your opinion of being full of yourself, being fully present. Are you ready for this? So grab your coffee or your tea, take a deep breath, maybe grab a pen or a pencil and your notebook, take some notes, or maybe you're just popping in your earbuds and you're on a walk. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for joining Overflow. I wanted to touch on a couple of things. So one, in terms of filling yourself up, being full of yourself, I think part of that is this concept that we've been talking about on the podcast around empowering conversations. I would say that yes, we are often avoiding a difficult conversation, and probably we're avoiding the conversation for different reasons. Maybe the burden of having the conversation actually overwhelms us, or it's so overstated we would rather avoid the conversation than have the conversation. The problem is because we're avoiding it, we're replaying it over and over in our head. We're going over all the things, and maybe we're even worried about, protecting that person's sense of peace or that person's engagement here in the team at work. But the more we protect the other person by not having the conversation, the more we, I think, are having this sense of overwhelm, and it's leading to burnout because we're avoiding the conversation because we're wanting to protect the other person. And I think being full of yourself is taking a moment and being present in the conversation. I guess the other thing I would add in this concept of empowering conversations is I'm not hoping that I'm an extrovert, and we often talk about extroverts and introverts here on the Overflow podcast. So I'm not asking you, if you're an introvert, to become an extrovert. Being full of yourself might be that your strategy, your effectiveness, the things that you have accomplished and the goals you have achieved may be because of how you are built, your nature, your DNA, your introvert. And so maybe being full of yourself is asking a question and listening. Maybe the reason you're not having the conversation is because to you, it's going into a conversation and it feels like an extrovert's exercise, and that's not what you're up for. If you were thinking, I'm an introvert, then maybe a difficult conversation, which I'd like you to consider an empowering conversation, maybe being full of yourself is taking a deep breath, listening, asking a curious question, taking note, not necessarily filling the space. So, one, being full of yourself, I think, is having an empowering conversation where we are both empowered to contribute, to have our say, to set expectations, manage accountabilities, objectives, all the things. What if you were full of yourself as you prepared to go into a conversation in the best way? As I was thinking about this solo episode and popping on during these summer days, I was thinking about being full of yourself. And I was also thinking about the uniqueness of leadership. And I would say that, yes, in the past, we have had, well, and according to many of the big companies, we still see a lot of men in boardrooms, men leaders. And so my encouragement is for us to lead uniquely, not the, I'm going to say, the old fashioned or old traditional, what we used to imagine was leadership. Leadership can be so unique. And I often say, lead your way. That's why I work on the strengths. So we do a strengths assessment when I'm working with a leader, and we really try and zone in on what are your natural strengths? What are the strengths that you use, that you leverage, you lean on to tackle problems, to solve challenges, to go over obstacles, to build relationships? And so your uniqueness is being full of yourself. It's not replicating someone else. It's turning up the volume on who you already are. The caution is not turning up the volume so far that you've overextended on your strengths, on your talents. So I think if you're listening today, my challenge here would be, how can you be more full of yourself in all your beautiful traits? Rather than dimming your light, turning down your volume, how can you stand in the uniqueness of you, how you are built, the experiences you have had? How can you fill that up so much so that it benefits the business, the team, the clients? How can you be, I would say, even more full of yourself? All right, and the last note that I made was around refuel. And so, yes, being full of yourself is honoring your strengths, your talents, your uniqueness, your experiences, how you approach the world. Being full of yourself is having empowering conversations, empowering the other, considering that the other person is resourceful. There's no need to rescue them. But the third thing that I was thinking about in terms of being full of yourself is around giving yourself permission to refuel, to re-energize. And refueling, re-energizing, again, looks different for different people. And I would say if you are interested in refueling, it's really thinking about maybe this week, this day, this season of your life. What does refueling look like as best to you? And so sometimes that is a quiet Friday night. It's, having your facial and your bubble bath and using your favorite shampoo. Maybe it is driving. So here, certainly in Ontario, people on Friday nights, they're driving to their cottages to get away, to disconnect to the Wi-Fi, to be out on the lake and out on the dock. And so maybe that's how you refuel. So in terms of this season, this next week, these 90 days as we approach Q4 of 2026, maybe being full of yourself is finding a way to refuel, re energize. What is it that's making you feel so much better? And when you refuel, however that is, whether it's a bubble bath or a big dinner party on Friday night or your cottage, um, or, you know, coming in late on Monday, having a Monday instead of a long weekend Friday, you're coming in late on Monday and you're having this lazy Monday morning when everybody's rushing to work. Whatever it is, finding giving yourself permission to refuel. What is it that your mind, body, and soul needs to re-energize, to fill yourself up? And when you fill yourself up so much, you have this greater sense of calm, ease, peace, confidence, courage, time to think, time to nurture yourself. It might be just time to rest. And I bet you'll feel 10 times, 25 times, 100 times better when you return to work and you lead others. That's where you are full of yourself. You are overflowing. All right, so I wanted to pop on and offer just a solo episode. By the way, if there is a conversation stirring inside of you, or maybe it is weighing on you and it's a conversation that you have been avoiding, something that I've created is an audio. I'm calling it from the Leadership Overflow Vault. It is a secret audio just for you that you can download. It's about 10 or 12 minutes, and it is just a short audio to give you some perspective, to give you some Zen. Count to Zen, right? It is an audio to support you in preparing for having an empowering conversation. And if that sounds like something that, an audio in your ear, safe space, confidential, that would help give you the nudge you need to have the conversation, to lead your way authentically, to manage expectations or to set goals. Check it out in the show notes. You can download it. It's for free. You're also welcome to message me. If a 15-minute conversation would be beneficial, message me. I'm here to help. Let's see if we can figure it out. Because when you're carrying around a conversation, you are not able to overflow. You are not able to be full of yourself. All right. Words of wisdom. Thank you for joining in for my solo episode. I wanted to pop on. I hope you're having a great August. We are mid Q3, headed into an amazing Q4 of 2026. And I think it's time to be full of yourself. I dare you to.